So this is going to be my alternative volunteer project presentation. I'm going to generally be talking about how donations impact environmental NGOs, and then specifically about the Chesapeake Bay, which is pictured here. So this is some general information. The Chesapeake Bay, it's a waterway in the mid-Atlantic region of the East Coast. It has a 64,000 square mile basin. It's mainly in parts of Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia, and it flows into the Atlantic Ocean. It was one of the world's first identified marine dead zones. It had lots of problems with pollution and runoff from pesticides, and also with the depletion of oysters who clean the bay. So the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, it's an NGO founded in 1967, and its mission is to restore and protect the bay and restore and protect the larger mid-Atlantic environment as well. So the relationship with course concepts. Economic importance we've talked about a lot throughout the semester, but the bay was and is a center of industry, both with like crabbing and fishing, but also different forms of recreation. People boat on it a lot. There are different parks and beaches along the bay. The Clean Water Act, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but the Chesapeake Bay was largely affected by the use of pesticides. And I thought this was interesting. One of the goals in the Clean Water Act is for U.S. waterways to be fishable and swimmable, and the bay was one of the last water sources in the U.S. to meet that goal. Harvesting and fisheries, we've talked a lot about overfishing, but the bay specifically had a big problem with overharvesting of oysters. At one point, 98% of the bay's oysters were gone, and because one of the ecosystem services those provide is to clean the water, that also increased pollution. So, how to donate to an NGO? Generally, donating directly is best either through their website or by sending a check. It's best not to use a third-party service if possible because they might take a certain percent of the money. But money isn't the only way to donate. You can spread awareness, volunteer, and those things are obviously valuable as well. Specifically for the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, you can donate on their website, which I have listed there, or they have fundraising programs that raise awareness of the issues they advocate for, and then that would hopefully increase donations. So this is an important question. Are donations harmful or helpful? Generally, they're helpful, but different NGOs have different levels of effectiveness and transparency, so looking at an organization who analyzes NGOs is good, and just something to keep in mind is which organization will do the most good with the money donated. The Chesapeake Bay Foundation, they're known to be effective and reputable. They have lots of accreditations and have won awards, which I have some images of there. And then how they translate donations to action. One main way is through advocacy. They have lobbyists in state capitals and in Washington, D.C. to advocate for water protection. They also do lots of community education, working in public schools to do events and do education about environmental issues. They also hold larger events to inform the public. And they do restoration as well. So that's like planting underwater grasses and restoring oyster reefs to hopefully keep the bay cleaner for longer. So that's it. These are some of the websites where I got information for this PowerPoint and where they have lots of more information on the issue.